Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that one of the most important organs in your body has been quietly working for you for decades, and you barely noticed. Your kidneys do not beat like your heart. They do not expand and contract like your lungs. They do not announce when they are working. They simply keep going, day after day, year after year. And then one day, after a routine blood test, your doctor says a word that suddenly gets your attention. Creatinine. Maybe your creatinine is higher than it used to be. Maybe your eGFR has changed. And suddenly, you begin wondering, what am I eating that could be hurting my kidneys? What should I put on my plate? Is there something natural I can do? If those questions have been on your mind, stay with me until the end, because today we are going to uncover 5 simple vegetables that may have a valuable place in a kidney-conscious diet after 60. And the 5th one is especially interesting because it is one of those humble vegetables that many people overlook. Before we begin, if you enjoy discovering simple foods, traditional wisdom, and practical healthy aging habits without complicated health trends, consider subscribing to Organic Living After 60. We are building a community of people who believe that getting older does not mean giving up on our health. It means becoming wiser about how we care for ourselves. Now, let's go back for a moment. Imagine a small village before modern supermarkets. The sun has just risen. An older man is slowly walking through a vegetable garden. Nearby, his wife is preparing breakfast. There are no shelves filled with supplements, no detox drinks, no expensive powders promising to cleanse the body. There is simply food, fresh vegetables, herbs, simple grains. Whatever the garden and local land can provide. Of course, our ancestors did not understand kidneys the way modern doctors do today. They did not know about creatinine or eGFR, and we should never pretend that traditional life was perfect. They faced illnesses and challenges that we are fortunate not to face today. But there is something worth remembering. Food was often much closer to its original form, and perhaps that simplicity is something worth rediscovering. Today, we are going to explore 5 humble vegetables that can be useful additions to a kidney-conscious eating pattern for many older adults. But there is an important truth I want you to understand before we begin. These vegetables are not magic kidney cleaners. They do not cure kidney disease. And no vegetable can promise to lower your creatinine simply because you eat it. Creatinine is a waste product produced as part of normal muscle activity. Your kidneys normally remove it from your blood. Doctors can use blood creatinine, together with estimated glomerular filtration rate, or eGFR, urine tests, and other information, to understand how well your kidneys are working. So if your creatinine has recently increased, please do not try to treat the number yourself. Talk with your doctor. A single number does not always tell the whole story. But there is still something powerful you can do. You can learn how to build meals that support your overall health and fit your individual kidney needs. And that brings us to our first vegetable. The first one is so ordinary that you may have walked past it hundreds of times without realizing how useful it can be. Cauliflower. Think about a cauliflower sitting quietly in an old-fashioned kitchen. Nothing about it looks exciting. It is white, simple, unpretentious. But sometimes, the most valuable foods are the ones that never needed good advertising. Cauliflower can be steamed, roasted, mashed, or added to soups and vegetable dishes. And for people who need to pay attention to potassium, cauliflower is included among lower potassium vegetable choices in kidney-friendly food guidance. But let us pause here, because potassium is one of the most misunderstood parts of kidney nutrition. You may have heard that everyone with kidney problems should avoid potassium. That is not true. Your kidneys normally help control potassium levels in your blood, but as kidney function declines, some people can have difficulty removing enough potassium. If potassium becomes too high, it can become dangerous. But another person with kidney disease may have completely different dietary needs. Some people may not need to restrict potassium at all. That is why you should never copy someone else's kidney diet simply because they have the same diagnosis. Your blood tests matter. Your medications matter. Your kidney function matters. Your doctor or kidney dietitian can tell you whether you need to limit potassium. So where does cauliflower fit? For many people, it can simply be a nutritious vegetable that makes it easier to build meals around fresh foods rather than highly processed foods. Try steaming cauliflower until it is tender. Add herbs. Use garlic if appropriate. Roast it until the edges become lightly browned. Or mash it and serve it as a simple side dish. And notice something important. We are not asking cauliflower to heal your kidneys. We are asking it to help us create a better meal. That difference may sound small, but it is actually the foundation of healthy aging. Because your health is rarely transformed by one miracle ingredient. It is transformed by patterns. The meals you eat repeatedly, the foods you buy repeatedly, the habits you repeat every week. And that leads us to our second vegetable, cabbage. Imagine an old garden in the cooler months. Large green leaves move gently in the wind. Someone reaches down and cuts a fresh head of cabbage. It is brought into the kitchen. A knife moves through the leaves. And within minutes, a simple vegetable becomes part of the family meal. Cabbage has been a familiar food in many traditional cuisines for generations. But again, we should separate tradition from science. The fact that people have eaten cabbage for generations does not prove that cabbage treats kidney disease. What modern nutrition can tell us is more practical. Cabbage can help add volume, texture, and nutrients to meals without requiring heavily processed sauces. And cabbage is also among the lower potassium vegetable options listed in kidney-friendly guidance. You can shred it into a simple salad, lightly cook it with onions, add it to a soup, or sauté it gently with herbs. But there is something else about cabbage that deserves your attention. It can help you make a meal feel satisfying without making the meal complicated. Think about a bowl containing cabbage, cauliflower, onion, and another vegetable you enjoy. Add the protein and carbohydrate portions that fit your personal health plan. Suddenly, you have a real meal, not a supplement, not a powder, not a drink that promises to flush toxins, a meal. And that is where modern nutrition and traditional simplicity meet. Our ancestors did not have the same medical knowledge we have today, but they certainly knew how to turn humble ingredients into filling meals. Now let us move to something more colorful. Bell peppers. Red, yellow, orange, green. They almost look like little lanterns hanging from the garden, and they can completely change the appearance of a simple meal. But their greatest advantage for today's discussion may be even simpler: flavor. When someone is trying to reduce sodium, food can sometimes start to feel boring. Suddenly, everything tastes bland, and that is when many people return to salty sauces, processed foods, or large amounts of salt. But what if instead of asking, "How can I add more salt?" you asked, "How can I add more flavor?" Bell peppers can help. Slice them into a salad, cook them with onions, roast them with cauliflower, add them to an omelette, or use them in a simple vegetable dish. The goal is not to make a vegetable perform some magical action inside your kidneys. The goal is to make healthier meals enjoyable enough that you actually want to keep eating them. That matters. Because the best diet is not necessarily the one that looks perfect on paper. It is the one that you can realistically follow. And now we come to something that can completely change the way a simple kidney-conscious meal tastes: onions. There is something almost emotional about the smell of onions cooking. Perhaps it takes you back to your childhood. Perhaps you remember your mother or grandmother preparing dinner. Maybe you remember walking into the kitchen and knowing immediately that food was being prepared. That smell can stay with you for decades. And onions have another practical benefit. They add flavor. When you are trying to reduce the amount of salt in your meals, Ingredients that naturally provide flavor become extremely useful. Instead of covering food with salty sauces, you can build flavor from onions, garlic, herbs, spices, and other seasonings that fit your health needs. This is something traditional cooking understood very well. Flavor does not have to come from salt alone. A simple pan of onions and vegetables can become deeply satisfying. And this is where our story becomes interesting. Modern life has given us incredible convenience. We can buy almost anything at almost any hour. But convenience sometimes means that our food contains ingredients we did not intend to eat in large amounts. Sodium is a good example. Processed meats, packaged soups, ready-made meals, salty snacks, sauces. Many convenience foods can contain significant amounts of sodium. And for people with kidney disease or high blood pressure, reducing excess sodium may be an important part of their health plan. So sometimes, the healthiest change is not adding a new superfood. It is learning how to make ordinary food taste delicious without relying so heavily on processed ingredients. And now, we arrive at our fifth vegetable, summer squash. It is soft, mild, easy to cook, and often overlooked. But that is exactly why I like it for this conversation. Summer squash can be steamed, roasted, sautéed, or combined with other vegetables, and it is also listed among lower potassium vegetable choices in kidney-friendly food guidance. Imagine a simple dinner: tender summer squash, some cabbage, a little onion, a few strips of bell pepper, and perhaps cauliflower roasted with herbs. Nothing exotic, nothing expensive, nothing complicated. But suddenly, you have a plate that looks colorful and alive. And this brings us to a very important point. A kidney-conscious diet is not simply about vegetables. It is about the entire pattern of eating. If you have kidney disease, you may need to consider sodium. You may need to monitor potassium. You may need advice about phosphorus. You may have specific protein needs. Your fluid intake may also need to be adjusted in some situations. And those recommendations can change as kidney function changes. This is why I want you to be careful with online health videos. If someone tells you, eat this vegetable and your creatinine will drop, be skeptical. If someone says, this food will cleanse your kidneys, be skeptical. And if someone tells you to stop prescribed medicine and replace it with a natural remedy, please do not follow that advice. Natural does not automatically mean safe for everyone, and medical treatment exists for a reason. So what should you actually do with today's information? Let us make it practical. Imagine tomorrow morning. You open your refrigerator. You see cauliflower, cabbage, bell peppers, onions, and summer squash. You do not need to eat all 5 at once. Choose 1 or 2. Start small. Perhaps make a simple vegetable side dish for lunch. Or add chopped peppers and onions to your meal. Or roast cauliflower with herbs. Or cook cabbage with onions. Or lightly sauté summer squash. The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency. And there is another simple habit worth considering. Look at the labels of packaged foods. You may be surprised by how much sodium is hidden in foods that do not taste extremely salty. If you buy canned vegetables, lower sodium options can be useful, and draining and rinsing some canned foods can reduce some of the sodium. Fresh and frozen vegetables can also be convenient choices. But again, your personal kidney condition matters. If your doctor has given you a specific potassium, fluid, sodium, phosphorus, or protein restriction, follow that individualized plan. Now I want you to think about something. Why do we become so attracted to miracle solutions as we get older? Perhaps because we become more aware of our health. We hear about cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, kidneys, bones, muscles, memory, and suddenly, there are dozens of things we are told we must fix. Then someone comes along and says, just eat this one food. It is comforting. It is simple. But our bodies are not that simple. Your kidneys are connected to the rest of your body. Your blood pressure affects them. Your blood sugar can affect them. Your heart health matters. Your medications matter. Your hydration matters. Your overall diet matters. Your physical activity matters. And your medical history matters. So instead of searching for one magical vegetable, think about building a kidney-conscious lifestyle, one piece at a time. That might mean eating more fresh vegetables. It might mean reducing highly processed foods. It might mean lowering excess sodium. It might mean controlling your blood pressure. It might mean keeping diabetes under good control. It might mean taking your prescribed medicines correctly. And it might simply mean keeping your medical appointments and checking your kidney function when your doctor recommends it. These things are not exciting, but they are powerful. Now let us return to that old garden. The sun is higher now. The elderly man has finished his morning walk. His wife has prepared a simple meal. The vegetables are not arranged beautifully for social media. There is no perfect presentation. There is simply food on the table, and perhaps there is something we can learn from that simplicity. Not that our ancestors had better medicine. They didn't. Not that they understood kidney disease better. They didn't. But they lived in a world where food was often much closer to nature. And today, we have the extraordinary opportunity to combine that simplicity with modern science. We know that kidney disease can be serious. We know that early kidney disease may have few obvious symptoms. We know that blood and urine tests can help doctors identify problems. We know that conditions such as high blood pressure and diabetes can affect kidney health. And we know that diet needs to be individualized for people with kidney disease. So perhaps the real lesson is not to choose between ancient wisdom and modern medicine. It is to use both wisely. Take the simplicity of real food. Add the knowledge of modern science and leave behind the exaggerated promises. That is what healthy aging should look like. Not fear, not obsession, not chasing every new health trend, but understanding. And there is one more thing I want you to remember about creatinine. If you have received a high result, don't panic. One number does not tell your entire health story. Ask your doctor what the number means in your case. Ask about your eGFR. Ask whether your result has changed over time. Ask whether you need urine testing. Ask about your blood pressure. Ask whether any of your medications could affect kidney function. And if you are considering major dietary changes, ask whether you should speak with a kidney dietitian. That conversation may be far more valuable than buying another supplement. Because the goal is not simply to make one laboratory number look better. The goal is to protect your health, to maintain your independence, to stay active, to enjoy your meals, to keep walking, to spend time with your family, to wake up with confidence instead of fear. That is what we are really talking about when we talk about healthy aging. And perhaps that is why these 5 ordinary vegetables are worth remembering. Cauliflower, cabbage, bell peppers, onions, summer squash. They are not miracles, they are ingredients. And ingredients become powerful when they are part of a healthy pattern. So the next time you walk through the vegetable section of the supermarket, don't only look for something exotic. Look at the simple foods. The foods that have been sitting there quietly all along. Sometimes the answer is not hidden in an expensive bottle. Sometimes it is waiting in the produce aisle. And perhaps that is the forgotten lesson our grandparents understood. Health does not always begin with something complicated. Sometimes it begins with what you put on your plate tonight. A little less processed food, a little less unnecessary salt, a little more real food, a little more movement, a little more attention to your body, and a little more respect for the remarkable organs that have carried you through 6, 7, 8, or more decades of life. Your kidneys have been working quietly for you for years. You may never feel them working, you may never think about them, but they are part of the reason your body can maintain its delicate internal balance. So don't wait until a laboratory number frightens you into action. Start caring for your whole body now. And remember, growing older is not a disease, it is a privilege. Every birthday means another year of experiences, lessons, family memories, laughter, challenges overcome, and stories that only you can tell. Healthy aging is not about becoming young again. It is about giving the older version of yourself the best foundation possible. Simple food, wise choices, modern medical care, connection with nature, movement, rest, and consistency. So perhaps tomorrow, instead of searching for another miracle remedy, step outside, feel the morning air. Look at a garden. Take a gentle walk if you are able. Then come home and prepare a simple meal. Maybe cauliflower, maybe cabbage, maybe colorful bell peppers, maybe onions, maybe summer squash. And as you sit down to eat, remember something important. You are not trying to become perfect. You are simply taking care of the body that has taken care of you for all these years. One meal, one day, one wise choice at a time. That is the kind of wisdom we believe in here, at Organic Living After 60. The wisdom of nature, the simplicity of traditional living, and the protection that comes from understanding what modern science really tells us. If this video gave you something useful to think about, subscribe to Organic Living After 60 and join us for more simple, practical ways to make healthy aging part of everyday life. And if you know someone over 60 who is becoming more conscious of their kidney health, share this video with them, because sometimes one simple piece of information can start a much healthier conversation with a doctor, a dietitian, or a loved one. We are not here to chase every new health trend. We are here to rediscover the simple connection between nature, food, wisdom, and healthy aging. And sometimes, the healthiest path forward is not about discovering something new. It is about remembering something simple. Your best years are not necessarily behind you. There is still more walking to do, more meals to enjoy, more mornings to see, more stories to tell, and more life to live. Take care of yourself, take care of your body, and let nature remind you that healthy aging does not have to be complicated.